mean, really. I mean, really. To put up 145 points, which is the most in franchise history in the playoffs, for that third quarter to be so dominant, 51 points in the third quarter coming out of the half. The team made a statement. The Sixers made a statement with this game. It was a great bounce-back game. It's to the point where I was sitting back, relaxing, feet up, watching Korkmaz, Greg Monroe. I mean, this is what I was sitting there watching for a good, solid 12, 14 minutes of this ball game. That's how dominant the Sixers were after the first half. So let's dive into this, okay? Because Ben, he was a difference maker today. And I will say this, he did not take the criticism very well. He fed off the boos. He fed off this fan base screaming at him. And he performed with a triple-double. He was elite today. Right from the tip-off, he was aggressive, going to the rim, being aggressive. Now, it took us to piss him off for him to do that. He should just do that. He needs to just do that all the time. But it took us to frustrate the living hell out of him for Ben to be that aggressive. If he does that every night, does he see what he can do as he records a triple-double? He can do that every single night. Every night. It's not about the lack of jump shot. It's about the lack of aggression. But when he puts it on, if he could do this consistently, it changes the entire team. It changes everything. He had 18 points, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. He was doing it all. He was being aggressive defensively too. Ben Simmons was a difference maker today, and I got to give him credit because I destroyed him last game. But we saw the complete opposites, like the actual complete opposites from an extreme level. Extremely disappointing to holy hell, why can't you do that all the time? But I got to give him credit because he did that today, and he was a reason why we were so successful today without a doubt. Early in this game, first half, I'd say, we had a 13-point lead, and it kept getting cut into. And the Brooklyn Nets, they were just making everything from three. We were giving them way too many opportunities from three. Wide open looks, and they were draining them. 10 three-pointers in 23 attempts in the first half. But once that second half came about, it was completely different. 0-6 from three. In the third quarter alone, they ended up going 0 for 8 from 3 until they ended up knocking one eventually. But we did a better job defending the perimeter. Third quarter defensively, I don't know what Brett Brown told them, but they came out on a whole different level. We outscored them 51-23 in that third quarter. But we made adjustments defensively. They were not getting those wide open looks to the extent that they were in the first half from the three-point line. They just weren't. Joel Embiid gets the nod today. He was questionable, although we all knew he was going to play based off of him actually being doubtful in Game 1. And he ends up limited minutes, only 21, but he had 23 and 10. And one thing you got to notice, he didn't take threes. Now that goes on Brett Brown because he probably realistically went in there and told Joel, they want you to shoot. You were 0-5 in Game 1 from the three-point line. They want you to shoot. They want you to do that. Get the ball, do your little pump fake, do whatever you do, get into the paint, and dominate. And that's what he did, and he did that in very limited minutes because he had Boban coming off the bench, knocking down mid-range jumpers all day long. He deserves a great clap. Boban was someone who created spark for this team. The energy getting crowd every time he knocked down, or the energy from the crowd getting loud every time he knocked down a shot. He was awesome off the bench. Our bench as a whole was way more electric today. Boban ended up getting 18 minutes, 16 points, 8 boards. Mike Scott had 15 off the bench. Tobias Harris, 1 of 7 in the first half. He ended the game with 19 and was knocking down shots. That must have been so nice to see for him. Just to see it go down. Even when he was struggling, he was getting fouled at times, and he was at the free throw line. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Draining them, just to see it go down. And then after that, he was continuing to make decent looks and making nice shots. We need that. JJ, he had 17 off the bench. Jimmy a little quiet, but we didn't really need him. It was a blowout in that third quarter. It was a legitimate blowout by the 76ers as they were just tremendous and they made a statement. And we tied the series up 1-1, and now everyone sleeps a little bit more comfortably today. Everyone has a little bit different of an outlook. We made a big statement, and now we have a couple days off. Let Joel get some rest. Let some guys get some rest. And we move on to Thursday to see how we can attack this thing in Brooklyn. But I truly am really, really proud of the team today because I thought they made a legitimate statement, and I have to be proud of Ben Simmons. I do. It irks me that it takes us to get on him to that extent to fuel the fire. He should just have that intensity all the time. But hey, listen, maybe this teaches him something because you perform like that, and he knows what he did. He gave us one of these. He gave us one of these because of the boos that were raining down on him last game. What were you saying? What were you saying? And that's good. Like, I want that out of a competitor. I want that out of one of our players. Prove people wrong. But he needs to realize it's not about just the jumper. It's the mindset. It's the mindset of the way he plays. Be aggressive. No one can stop you with that body structure at the position you play at with the force you play with. Do that all the time. A triple-double. He was electric today. He was actually electric. And one other thing. James Ennis, difference maker. Jonathan Simmons stinks. I was saying go with him last game because he's a veteran guy and he's had points in this league and he's had tenure in this league over someone like Zahir Smith. James Ennis, hustle plays. Hustling on the board. Grabbing our rebounds. Getting putbacks. Playing legit hard defensively at times. James Ennis stood out to me in that role that Jonathan Simmons played with last game. It's a difference maker. I don't know how he would play because of the whole quad injury, but I was impressed and I loved it. Now, maybe that's just saying Jonathan Simmons is that garbage, which is fair. That's a fair assumption. But I noticed him out there without a doubt, just his energy, and I love it. I love the third quarter. I love the second half. The first half, it got a little crazy there late, and the technical fouls or the flagrant fouls that were going around, not technical, they were flagrant fouls, and this, and we had a 13-point lead, and the way that they were knocking down threes at will, it was bothering me that they were getting that wide open. But you take a look at the second half, and it literally went away. It literally went away. They weren't getting the same open looks that they were consistently knocking down. And we took control of the basketball game. 51 points in the third quarter. That can't go unnoticed. That is an obnoxious amount. That ties an NBA record for most points in a third quarter in the playoffs since like 62 or something like that with the Lakers. They had it on display there late in the game with Mark Zumoff on the call. I'm extremely proud. We were pissed off because there were no effort. There was no effort. They looked lackadaisical. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. Today, they played hard. They played well. They gave us effort. And even though it got close there at the end of the first half and they cut into the lead, the Sixers still had it. Watching the game, the Sixers still had the flow of it. They still had the basketball game, in my opinion. It seemed like they were in control. I didn't expect the Nets to consistently knock down to three at that rate. Now, granted, they were getting open looks, but I didn't expect them to knock it down that much for the entire game. And clearly they weren't able to. So it seemed to me the Sixers pretty much came out there and they dictated the flow of the game. That's essentially what I'm getting at. And we tie the series up 1-1, and we worry about getting some wins in Brooklyn. Get the job done. Continue this. Build off this statement. Build off this statement victory. Scoring 145 points on the opposition. Get out of here. Build off of what we did. Game 1, feel-out game. Game 2, we made some adjustments. We weren't just popping threes with Embiid and taking what they gave us. We dictated it. We got Joel Embiid from the top and wide open, left wide open, and went to the paint. We dictated that. Don't let the Nets play the game that they want to play. And you have to agree that we were the team in control today. I'm extremely proud. Let me know your thoughts down below on this game as we tie the series up 1-1 with the Brooklyn Nets. Let's go. I was fired up. See you guys next time.